Well, good evening. Got the Retail Nomad coming at you right now from what's called Old Port in Marseille, France. See a couple yachts out there in the background. Obviously a marina port town. We got a couple motorcycles zipping by here. Just going to rotate just so you can see some of the structures, some of the styles, the architecture. Huge old buildings, very historic here, obviously called Old Port, and all kinds of restaurants and seafood, so forth. I'm just going to show you what kind of the retail options exist here in this tourist community. Old Port, Marseille, France. It's amazing. It's a mix of international labels. Jess, we're going to showcase your store here, and then a number of local labels. Obviously very ocean, marine, beach, seaworthy type of clothing and style. So Marseille, France, the Retail Nomad, hitting the streets this week.
The Retail Nomad, traveling the globe, sharing what the retail environment is like, hidden corners of the world.
We're launching this week's video with the first of a few French labels. This one here titled K-Way. Originating in 1965 in the north of France, designed for waterproof garments, shirts, jackets, bags, luggage, and so forth. K-Way. I like the style, look, feel, and design here. You see Foot Locker here on the left, as they are currently revamping some U.S. stores in the Americas, what they're calling Store of the Future. But I wanted to show you what a store looks like here on French soil. You would think, without some of the verbiage on the signage and so forth, very synergistic, very similar. Even the style of the displays, the gondolas, the perimeter wall fixturing and so forth. It looks very similar to me from my perspective. Like I said, without the verbiage and the signage differences here. And here I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what a Levi's store would look like in France. Very similar to what you would find in the Americas. Levi's just posting their fourth quarter sales results, which were strong and positive. So very good news for their team. And then also I like their initiative with their upcycle recycle program. You can bring your jeans in and they'll give you some coinage back and term for a new purchase. So I really like this label, this brand, including the look, feel, and design of this store here. Is very modern, but yet old school America. So Levi's Americana here in Marseille, France. And check out this old beauty here, La Chapellerie. Probably pronouncing that wrong with my lack of my French accent, but check out the history of this place in here. Is it looked like something Audrey Hepburn to be walking through to pick up a lid, or Humphrey Bogart might score a fedora, or maybe even Willy Wonka pick up a top hat of some kind in this place. But it just exudes history here. La Chapellerie. And here I am stepping foot inside of a Sephora store location located right next door to Claire's. You got two brands from the Americas here side by side. But, a gorgeous, beautiful looking store location, layout, feel, design here. But I would do a side note and give a big kudos to Ms. Jess at Sephora Corporate, and then also Mariah from Tractor Supply Corporation for joining the Mob Membership Committee. I sat on this committee with these gals, and they were absolute rock stars. So I just want to give a shout out to these gals as I'm walking one of their stores here in France. Thanks much, gals. And take a look at some of the elements that you may not see too often. And that's what it takes for us to build a retail store. And looking at the mixed-use style of the ground level, retail, commercial, and in apartments and lofts and flats up top. But you see that here they've got to stage all their materials, their fixtures, their everything. Their cash wrap, their signage. I can see mannequins in here and so forth. But it's just a different element that we really don't have to consider in the U.S. just because of the style and design of the buildings and the layouts of what the stores go into. But I just wanted to show you some of the materials and items being built at this brand new store location here.
Maison du Gant. Maison du Gant. Bonjour, Steffan.
Bonjour.
Hello, hello. I want to show the viewers your cool store.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
They have beautiful bikinis. He said years ago, 100 years ago, they made the bikinis in wool, and that way it kept the women nice and warm because the beach is like literally 2 blocks away. This store is called Maison du Gant, which means House of the Gloves.
And take note, as Steffan here pulled out a drawer, all of these drawers in this millwork on this wall are filled with merchandise. It's amazing. It blew me away. And then he's like, well, let me just show you how we fit someone for the gloves. Pulls out this little deal for me to put my arm in here. And turns my hand around. I felt like James Bond as he is fitting me here. Just absolutely amazing customer experience, as you can imagine. How many people have been in this store nearly 100 years old? I loved it. Here's a brand by the name of Bijou Brigitte, and it's from Germany. Nearly 900 locations across Europe and Asia and Middle East. But to me, it reminds me of Eclairs. Everything from accessories for the young females and so forth. And just giving you a glimpse outside of one of the busiest shopping streets I'd found. Up top, it says Bank of Italy. I don't know how many hundreds of years ago, but this H&M store, it's just like something out of a postcard. This truly has to be one of the more majestic H&M stores. Check out this entrance. Obviously the product and the goods and merchandise inside are very similar to what we're familiar with, but just the style. I mean, internal, it's just something out of a theater. Truly a beautiful store location here. Here I am walking down the street, and check out this old beauty. I think it's like an old school Fiat 500 or something. Sweet! And what are the odds? I was a few blocks away, and I could hear some music being played, and I jumped over to the street, want to order up some delicious seafood here in this area, and they're having literally a live fashion runway show. Some of the local artists, designers, and the fashion associations got together, and literally you can see the people dancing around as you enjoy a drink or some dinner. Sweet. And here you see Kiko Milano is one of the largest cosmetic store providers, originating out of Milan. They got over 1,000 store locations in I think over 50 countries. One of the larger ones positioned here in Europe. And then just tiptoeing down the thoroughfare here again, you got New Yorker store location here on the right popping up. And again, you get to see the mixed use up top, residential. And then commercial down below, you got Etom, headquartered out of Paris. I don't know if you recall the video I did last year for World Retail Congress, but we had a VIP guided tour of their flagship store in Paris. And that right there, my friends, is probably the coolest looking Uniqlo store in the world. Check that bad boy out. It's about a 4 or 5 story building that just looks like something out of a cartoon. Just beautiful though. Crazy trippy history, architectural style. Another guy with the same muffler and exhaust. It's hard to record anywhere here because they all must drill holes in their mufflers. Just cruising down the thoroughfare here once again. You get to see all kinds of brands and labels. You got Camper here on the right, based out of Mallorca, Spain, footwear label, primarily based in Europe. And then, looking across, you've got one that you're familiar with, Vans Corporation, that anyone from the Americas is familiar with. And then you got Calzedonia, women's intimate apparel. And here you see this cool brand by the name of Espigas, which is another locally manufactured brand from town here in Marseille. I love this, Espigas. You got footwear, marine wear, shirts, and so forth, but really cool styles, chill, just think boat shoes, if you will. But I love the fact that they're made right here. Very cool design, style, and feel, Espigas. Here you see the well-known international label, Doc Martens. Used to rock a pair of these bad boys back in the 90s. And I love how they've tied this into their marketing, which you'll see here. In the back wall, it says, the original icons. I love it. Originally designed by a German doctor and then made famous after being acquired by a Brit company in the 60s. The original icons. And here you see a label by the name of Serge Blanco. And I like the aesthetics, the feel, the old school, the dark tones on the fixture millwork. But this place, to me, it's a blend of, Ralph Lauren meets Polo with, the shirts, the shoes, the jackets, the men's attire, the aesthetics, the Polo Club mentality, if you will. Really like this store location here. And here I found a very cool local brand by the name of Sunchild, originating from Marseille. And here I had Susanna that just had the most positive spirit and energy, told me a little bit about this store location, and their design aesthetics is started by two sisters, made for children primarily between 2 to 18 for the beach, travel, freedom mindset. And you can just see and you get that vibration just by what you see with their merchandise as well as the store design. I like this store. Sunchild. Thanks much for tiptoeing through the streets here in Marseille France. You see back there, large structure, multi-level, is called Galeries Lafayette. That's right, similar to the property that we saw in Paris, France last year during the World Retail Congress. Just rotating around, you get to see some of the old school European, really unique architectural structures, buildings, styles, and so forth. And that's basically, hopefully what you captured in this video is a blend of the history, the heritage, some European labels that you may not be familiar with from North America, blended with some that you are, obviously. The Retail Nomads had a riot here this week. Beautiful city, port town. Retail Nomad, Marseille, France. Galeries Lafayette.
Stay tuned to the Retail Nomad, as each week we'll be profiling different types of shopping experiences around the world. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Ciao.